Welcome to the Natural Medicine Mamas podcast, where our vision is to help families stay and be healthy using natural methods for the body, mind, and soul. We encourage self-reliance in any medicine practice for your family, and our products and advice are designed to help you learn more about caring for your family with herbs. Now introduce your hosts, Paula, Andrea, Misha, Kalea, and Goldie, your Natural Medicine Mamas. You can find us at naturalmedicinemamas.com.
Hi, this is Andrea from Natural Medicine Mamas. I want to give you a quick overview of what to expect from our podcasts. At times, we will talk about herbs and their properties, about our products and how to use them, basic education about overall uses of our herbs, self-reliance and taking care of yourself and your family, and our own personal stories about herbs, oils, plants, and holistic ways of living. In this particular podcast today, we're going to introduce each of us and about our passion for health and natural living. Now we're going to go to our conference line with all of us on the phone.
I will start with myself, an introduction to me. My name is Andrea, like I said. I want to say a little bit about why I love natural medicine. Oh, I probably should, before that, actually introduce everybody who's on the call. So we're on the phone together because we live in separate cities. It's me, Andrea, my mom, Paula, and my two sisters, Kalea and Misha. And I will let them, they'll be able to introduce themselves in just a minute. So with me, I love natural medicine a lot, actually. It has been a godsend for me and my family. It really started back when I was little because of my mom and some things that she will share in her journey inside of helping herself with a lot of natural medicine. So we grew up really, really naturally in our family, very naturally minded, which gave me a really great foundation. But didn't really come alive for me until I became a mother myself. I knew that there were a lot of ways that my mom raised me, and I had a lot of base knowledge about herbs and about oils and about more naturally minded ways of healing and helping our bodies and living. But it was really when I had my first baby that all of a sudden it was like the rubber meets the road for me. To feel like, okay, I really have to know what I'm doing to take care of my family. So I had my first son, Gabriel, and I started getting freaked out about every single little thing with him. He ended up getting a cough. He was about 3 months old, and I psyched myself out about it. This was after a couple of the things I had psyched myself out about as a new mother and not knowing what I was doing. And he had this cough, and I had convinced myself that he was just in really major trouble. So I took him into my pediatrician, which wasn't obviously the first time that I had taken him in. And this pediatrician was so sweet. After checking him out, I remember the look on his face when he looked up and he looked at me and he just said, "Andrea, he is fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with him. He is a growing baby. He is building his body. His cough is loose. He hasn't had a fever." And all these different things that he explained, these different signs to me, and what really would be bad things compared to just natural things that are happening with your body and with the world that we live in, especially with babies growing. And I remember thinking to myself in that moment, when he looked at me with that face, thinking to myself, wow, I need to have a little bit more confidence in myself with taking care of my family as a mom. Like, I can't be running to my pediatrician all the time. I can't be running to the doctor. I can't be asking all these different people for taking care of my family. Like, I need to know all of that. I need to take care of it. I need to know the warning signs if it's a major thing and we need more help, or if it's something that I can take care of on my own. So I really dug in at that point and decided that I needed to be more self-sufficient. And from there, obviously with having a naturally minded family, my sisters and my mom were excellent resources, especially my mom. And we just started working on it on my own, and we started working together. And then it was a few years ago where we ended up expanding upon that, because we had actually had quite a few different people in our circle of friends and our network that had come to us for help because of the way that they knew that we were taking care of our families And they felt the need to be more self-sufficient as well, which is basically how Natural Medicine Mamas grew and came to be. So that's a little bit of a background to me and a little bit to our business. From there, I will turn the time over to Misha to give her little background, and then Kalea will go after that, and then Mom, Paula, will be the one who will close. So Misha, there you go. Take it away.
Okay, so my name's Misha. I am the oldest of the sisters. I am a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 21 years, which kind of freaks me out every time I say that now. It doesn't seem like it's possible to have been an adult that long, let alone have graduated from nursing school that long ago. But anyway, growing up, like Andrew said, we used natural methods. My original plan was to go to medical school and kind of try to incorporate some of those things into it, and I decided that being a nurse would be more flexible for being able to have a family, etc. So that's what I stuck with. You could say that for a short time, I didn't stray from natural medicine. I just, it's easy to get distracted. I was single for several years and kind of did my own thing, finally did get married, and it took us some time before we were able to have a baby. And then, like Andrea has talked about, you kind of get to a point where you reevaluate your life. I suddenly really had a strong desire to incorporate the natural medicine things more into my life. And we, as sisters, as a family, decided that we wanted to learn some of those things together. So we started teaching each other those things and have been learning those things together. For myself personally, the reason why I love natural medicine and herbs, I did a full interview on this, and it's on our YouTube channel. But in basic, it's because as a nurse, I definitely appreciate and respect Western medicine does for us. At the same time, I've also seen the side effects that some medications can have and the ill health that many people have chronically. There's a lot of chronic disease in our society now, which I'm sure many of you are aware of. And being raised in a very religious Christian home, I really have come to feel that that's not what God has intended for us, that our bodies are able to heal themselves. I've seen that with people who are sick. I've seen how the body can heal itself under circumstances that really are surprising. You wouldn't think, doctors tell people, oh, I don't know if we're going to be able to fix this or get over this, and the body's able to heal. Part of that has to do with also understanding that we have a soul, and our soul contributes to the health of our bodies, and this whole health idea that we can have for ourselves. So anyway, I love natural medicine because I feel like it complements a healthy lifestyle, and it complements my belief in God as well. So, and I feel like it helps me raise my children a little bit better, even though there's always room for improvement in that, and I feel like I'm always needing to do better with that. And it helps me feel like I'm taking care of my body better, and it helps me also appreciate the environment that we have, the earth that we live in. I have a much greater love and appreciation for the plants that our Heavenly Father gave to us that are here on the earth and their purposes. So it kind of has all those different meanings for me. I think that's all I have to say, and I'll send it over to Kalea now.
Thanks, Mish. I always love hearing her story, because I really feel like she has a good balance between the two types of medical worlds that exist in our culture today. And anyway, I just really appreciate her perspective. So thanks, Mish. My name is Kalea. I am the fourth child in the family and the third girl. Our poor brother, he's the only boy. He likes to think that he has it hard, but I think we spoil him pretty good. But anyway, so as far as my background goes, I graduated with a bachelor degree in horticulture over 10 years ago now. Started working in horticulture when I was 14. I gained an interest in it. When I was young, I had two grandmothers, one of which died when I was really young, and the other one I didn't really feel like I had a solid relationship with. And so I thought, well, what is something that she does that I could do, that I could learn about, that I could have her teach me and build a relationship there? And I thought, well, she loves to garden, so I can go over there and have her teach me about that. So I started doing that, and she would teach me the names of the plants in her yard. She would teach me how to grow them, and she gave me starts so that I could take them home and plant them myself and grow them and see how they worked myself. And I learned a lot from her, and it eventually guided the course of my life. It was interesting that something that I thought was a small decision ended up making a huge influence on me. So I decided that I was going to study that, and because I knew that I was going to study that in school, I decided that when I was old enough that I wanted to work in a greenhouse. And so as soon as I was 16 and old enough for a job, I had an uncle who was a landscaper in town, and so I asked him where would be the very best place that I could work. And he said, go to this greenhouse, they're the best one in town, and they've got a really good reputation. So I said, okay. And I went there, and it was the only place that I applied, so I did, and I had a good interview, and I got accepted for that job. And I ended up working there for 7 years, and I owe a lot of what I know about plants to them. I learned my ID really, really well. I just feel very fortunate that I was able to work there. I eventually was able to be a manager in the perennial house. I worked primarily in the annual house and the greenhouse, and then I also spent a season out in the nursery with the trees and shrubs. And I also spent a Christmas season in there helping with Christmas trees, and that was really fun. But because of that, my ID in perennial and annual ID got really, really strong. And my ID skills with trees and shrubs isn't as good, but the skills that I do have I attribute to the season that I spent out there. So then I was able to go to school for that, and I went to BYU, Idaho, which has one of the highest and best horticulture programs in the nation. In fact, to back that up, there is a competition that goes on every year where horticulture students, the very best horticulture students in the program, go to this competition, and it's a nationwide thing, and there are all sorts of competitions within this, and BYU Idaho often takes first, and if they don't take first, they're at least in the top 3. When I went, we took first, and I took the first in my area, which was annual and perennial ID. So I feel that gave me a lot of validation for my skills to be able to ID plants. I feel like I've had an opportunity the last few years to take those skills and apply them towards weed and native plants, because that is kind of a different realm as far as IDing plants is concerned, but it gave me a really good base of what to look for when you're IDing plants and looking at the very subtle differences to be able to tell the difference between plants, like how the leaves grow off of the stem or how the petals are shaped or how big the petals are, things like that just gave me a really good base for that. So anyway, as far as natural medicine is concerned, I feel like it has really shaped the course of my life. It has contributed to my views on medicine and having a home birth and homeschooling my children, and just it has strengthened my confidence in myself and my belief that as a mother I am eligible for inspiration for my own children and that I'm capable of taking care of them myself. I also feel like other people can be a great gift in helping with the health of my children. I've had 2 babies that have had problems and have had to stay in the hospital, and I learned a lot from those experiences and from the people that were involved, and I'm so grateful for them because particularly with one, they saved her life, and I will forever be grateful for that. And I would never hesitate to do it again if I needed to, but for the most part, I've been able to take care of a lot of my children's problems. Some of them have been problems that maybe other people would take them in for a doctor, and I've been able to take care of them myself. I'm just very grateful for that. Oh, also one thing I forgot is where plants are concerned, I just really gained an appreciation for them and the role that they play in all parts of our life. They can be used as food and as medicine and as clothing, and I'm just astounded by the incredible gift that they are. They have just really strengthened my belief in a loving Father in heaven who gives us these resources. Something that I just recently have been doing is gathering nettle to make thread, which is a really fun thing. I'm about halfway through the process of getting it to the point where I can do that. And so when I do that, I will definitely update you if that's something of interest. But the thing that has even spurred that interest has been plants in general. So I'm very grateful for them in my life.
Okay, well, this is Paula. I'm the mom, and people, including my husband, can't tell us apart on the phone, so I hope that with us all talking together, you can kind of tell a difference in our voices. My story about herbs goes back to a very long time ago. I was a preemie baby, and so I have had issues with my lungs as long as I can remember. I remember when I was 14 being in the doctor's office on my birthday because I had pneumonia, and I had it all the time. Every season would come. I had it summer, spring, winter, and fall. It didn't matter. I probably had 3 children, and I got pneumonia, which this would have been a long time ago, so the last 2 weren't even born yet. And I had a friend that had started using encapsulated herbs, and she had been to a seminar about respiratory issues, and she said, Paula, why don't you try these herbs and just see if they'll work? If they don't work, you're not any worse off the way you are right now. And I had like 4 series of antibiotics up to that point in time for this one particular bout of pneumonia that I had. So I took the encapsulated herbs. I got a bottle of them and took them. About 4 or 5 days, I started coughing up. I won't give you the gory details, but I coughed a ton, more than I have ever coughed in my whole life. And I took that entire bottle. In fact, I ended up taking those for a year, I think. If I remember, it was a long time ago. I've never had pneumonia since. And this is from someone who's had it several times a year to nothing is, for me personally, nothing short of a miracle. I've not had any real side effects from pneumonia as I've gotten older, from the bronchial scarring and all that stuff. We started really working on our self-reliance, and medicinal, of course, is one of the things that is a big part of that. And I realized this particular encapsulated herb I needed, if I needed it again, that there's no way I could ever afford to store enough for a year's supply, not just for me, but for our family. And I went to the Lord in prayer about this, trying to figure out what the answer was to that. And I realized that, and I'm not saying anything against encapsulated herbs. I am grateful for them. I take a potassium encapsulated herb mix right now. I mean, I have nothing against them, but I just knew that financially we just couldn't afford to do that as much as we needed, and to be able to keep them rotated and everything. It was just kind of its own nightmare. And I looked at the first herb combo that I'd taken for this pneumonia and looked at the plants that were in the ingredients. I knew nothing about herbs except for, like garlic and onions and mint and, some of the culinary herbs, sage. And I have those growing in my yard. But I looked at the herbs ingredients, and I didn't know anything about any of them. I didn't know what their properties were. I didn't know why they would help me. And so I started studying those, and I was fascinated by everything I learned about them. I love to garden, and I thought, you know what? Maybe some of these will grow in our zone. And I looked at them, and every single one of them happened to grow in our zone. So I planted them that my first year. And I have an abundance of the herbs I need to make that mix. A lot of them are perennial, so they grow every year. Self-sufficient-wise, it's been such a huge blessing for us. Studied the herbs to see what would help us, and looking at how they work together, and took quite a few herb classes and started learning about all of this stuff. It's just like this whole new world opened up. It was an amazing thing that had been there all along, and I had no clue that it was out there, and how blessed we truly are that everything we need does grow in our region if we have the knowledge to put it to use. I have my little shelf downstairs that has all my herbs in it, and when we start having people that would see how we were doing things, they started asking us questions about how to do it for their families, and said that that's just kind of where our little business started. And our mission really is to help other people learn how to do this, because if we truly were in a self-sufficient situation, crisis mode, I can't teach 100 people how to do this. But if we can get the word out and teach people how to do this, then when we're in a crisis, and if there's 10 of us that know how to do it, we can help each other. And so that's really, really important to us. I guess I'm the one that's finishing up here. And so I just want to thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope that we can say something or share something that can help you. We have an email. It's naturalmedicinemamas@gmail.com. Our website is naturalmedicinemamas.com. And we also have a Facebook page under the same name. So if we can help you with anything, just drop us a message at any of those places where we're happy to help, because every time we're able to help someone else, we learn something ourselves. And so it's very, very awesome. And I think with that, that's it, unless one of you guys have something else to say.
Just more of a philosophy that I think we all hold. I just think it's incredible that out of something that was really miserable for Mom for a long time and having pneumonia, that it actually was a great gift that created this whole new aspect and direction in all of our lives that affects us and our children and so many other people. And that truly, out of things that seem hard, that they can be made into something great.
Thank you, Kalea. That's very, very true. One thing, too, Andrea neglected to say is that she studied in college communications. That's why she's so good about being in charge of these podcasts. And she's also a licensed massage therapist, so she understands the way the body goes together in a way that the rest of us don't quite understand. So anyway, we're very grateful to have the mix of understanding that we do when we come together, because we have somebody that seems to know the answers to something when we have a problem. So anyway.
Okay, Mom, you did so great. I appreciate you mentioning that. That was the other thing I was gonna add, is just how much we balance each other out. I love everybody's resumes because they're all very, very knowledgeable, and I'm just lucky to be related to them. Okay, we will see you on another podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Natural Medicine Mamas. If you have any questions, please go to naturalmedicinemamas.com and reach out to us. Thank you for tuning in, and have a blessed day.